Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of Super Rugby. This one between the Hurricanes and the Waratahs. Now, they are not too far away from the start of this contest. The Tars now making their way out onto the field at Sky Stadium for what is going to be an extremely important game throughout both of these sides' Super Rugby seasons. The Hurricanes, they did suffer defeat for the first time last week. They want to be able to fire back, and they've got a great side that will be taken to the field for this matchup. But the Tars, away from home, can they replicate what they've been able to do in some of their home games on the road in New Zealand? For the Hurricanes, Pori Rakiti Stones, Kariru Symes and Tyrell Lomax will be the front row. Caleb Delaney and Isaiah Walker-Leawiri in the locking duo. Then Devon Flanders, Peter Lakai and Braden Yossi will find themselves in the loose forward trio. Richard Judd gets the opportunity to start this match with Brett Cameron as the returning fly half, Riley Higgins and Billy Proctor in the midfield, so no Geordie Barrett in the starting lineup. Balin Sullivan out on one wing, Josh Morby out on the other, and then Ruben Love slotting in as the number 15 for the Waratahs. It is Hayden Thompson Stringer, Julian Heaven, who has actually had a very good start to his Waratahs Super Rugby season, and Harry Johnson Holmes will be slotting in as the number 3. Hugh Sinclair and Fergus Lee Warner in the locking duo. Lockie Swinton always shows a lot of physicality when he's out there on the park, and I feel like this game will be no different. Laney Gleeson at 8 with Ward slotting in as the number 7. Jake Gordon and Will Harrison as the 19 combo with Lalakai Fekete and Isaiah Parisi in the midfield. Dylan Beach, Tristan Riley and Mark Nwanganetoasi will find himself at number 15 to close out this starting lineup. But Super Rugby Pacific, the way that the table sits, the Hurricanes are still top of the bunch by just the 1 point. So if the Tars can do the Blues a little bit of a favour here, it would actually mean that the Blues would move to first if they're able to get themselves a win over the Rebels, which is actually a game that has taken place just around the corner. But in the chat, we have, there you go, the Hurricanes. Lucky not playing in Sydney, says Nathan Smith. And Canes have so many good players to bring in. It's crazy, says Pats Blaze, and the Canes are winning. And the All Black Sevens playing in white, says Nov Mum. And they're in up the Canes in the chat as well. But looking through at the previous game for the Hurricanes, of course, it was up against the Brumbies. 27 points to 19 was the win for the Brumbies. And then the Hurricanes away from home. It's so weird, isn't it? The way that the table has gone, because the Hurricanes away from home getting themselves the first win up against the Fijian draw of this year when the draw were at home. And then they end up losing their first game the week after to the Brumbies by the 8 points. So they missed out on a bonus point. They will be looking to come into this game up against the Waratahs with a lot of heat, with a lot of power, and a lot of points on the board as well. The Waratahs had that close game up against the Crusaders that went to Golden Point, in the end winning it 43 points to 40. Then last week, they did suffer that loss to the Chiefs, 38 points to 22. So for the first time this season in a Hurricanes game, we can say both sides coming off a loss, who is going to bounce back better. The Canes looking rearing to go for this contest. Should be a fast-paced one, should be an entertaining one as well. Being played. And Wellington up the Canes, says JSB, and go the Hurricanes, says Carmen. Canes the Tars, says Peter, but it's kicked off by the Hurricanes and nicely claimed there by, of course, the Waratahs. They'll try and match the tempo that the Hurricanes want to bring into this game early. Jake Gordon, short side to Harry Johnson. Holmes, good shot coming in from Isaiah Walker-Leawiri. Looks like now the first kick of the day is about to take place. Oh, we're very laggy at the moment. Not sure what is going on there. One moment. I will quickly try and fix it. That's still not fixing it though. For some reason, it's trying to lag up a storm by the looks of it. Is that any... Okay, that's better. I have to leave that open for the stream, I believe. We'll go like this. One moment already. A run coming through for the Hurricanes. Okay, that didn't work. One moment. Boom. This looks like we've fixed it now, so I have to keep that open over my face for the whole stream. And our ball available for Richard Judd. Sorry about that. Technical difficulty, ladies and gentlemen. Only 1 minute gone on the clock, and already the Hurricanes find themselves on attack. Knocked back by Tyrell Lomax, but then it is knocked on by Balin Sullivan. Currently sitting 80 seconds in, and Peter Lakai He's just such a dangerous player. Definitely a future All Black. To play in the under-20s not too long ago, just breaks through Lockie Swinton like it was nothing. We know how physical Swinton can be, breaking through Will Harrison. This guy could be an All Blacks bolter if he gets it right. And avoids injury. That is the main thing about getting it right. As long as you stop yourself from picking up just an annoying injury near the end of the season, you could find yourself in the ABs. Back weight's 905 kgs for the Hurricanes compared to the 880 of the Waratahs and Canes, or Tosso Canes, Tosso, says JMS. They do come in as quite heavy favourites. That's gone down in the front, and there will be a free kick now for the Waratahs after a bit of an early push from the Hurricanes. We'll have another scrum reset here. And I'm sure we will see quite a few of them throughout this contest, just because lately scrums in Super Rugby haven't been the most free-flowing thing in the game. Does normally use up quite a bit of time. Was there a moment of silence? There was, yes. It was for a player who had died playing rugby the week prior, I believe it was. So they did have the moment of silence at the ground. Currently for the Waratahs scrum, they have got the 10th best scrum in the Super Rugby competition with a success rate of 92%. Now big push from the Hurricanes, and they have got themselves the possession. Now Braden Yossi goes out to Brett Cameron for the corner. Billy Proctor does score it, and the Hurricanes are on his board, or on the board early on. What was his name? I didn't get to see it because I was reading through the lineups, but they had it on the big screen earlier on. Then go the Canes, says Bhavani, but Billy Proctor scores his second try of the season, and already they have struck first. They've struck effectively. Braden Yossi always lures in defenders, and I believe in the end it was Tristan Riley tried to run forward, try and shut down the opportunity of a pass out the back line, but Proctor's in. And go the Canes first try. Canes got the cash, says Bhavani in there as well, and the crowd loving it. Also, we saw that the coaches were loving that one too. Hi, lad, says DB. Welcome in. If you are, keep them well. Hope you're excited for the weekend of rugby ahead, whether that is the Super Rugby competition, whether that's the sevens that has currently taken place. Of course, the Blitzboks getting themselves the big win just prior up against the Spanish. And then also the Champions Cup and Challenge Cup semi-finals, both taking place as well. Now lining up this kick will be Brett Cameron, success of 73% throughout this season, has missed 10, and up the Canes come on, says pads ablaze. And Canes have been building good depth in the squad this year, and that's going to come round nicely. No balls this weekend, but a lot of entertaining rugby coming up. So I have a question, DB. You're a Bulls man, right? The Sharks are playing in the Challenge Cup, and they're the only South African side in action. Do you support them up against Clermont? Or is there a little bit of a rivalry that says, like, if the Bulls can't win, no South African side can, if that makes sense? Or do you back them seeing as they're up against a, like, opposition of a different nation? Nicely taken by Ruben Love already. The Hurricanes with a 7-0 lead at the moment over the Waratahs. Cameron gets it away to Tyrell Lomax, supporting the Sharks for that game. But just that game, I assume, DB. If they were up against the Bulls, I think I know exactly who you'd be backing. But that's good. Like, at the end of the day, as long as you're backing your side when they're playing and, you know, backing the country per se. South Africa first, except for Stormers. Oh, okay. Bit of a rivalry there. It's close to the touchline. Nicely taken by Will Harrison. Now Dylan Peach runs it at Kareru Symes, who almost got himself the turno. He's a little bit unlucky that he wasn't able to hang on to that one. The chance of getting the ball back, but the Tars in possession. Going to be now Tristan Riley. Of course, Mark Nawanga-Netawasi actually signing in as fullback for this contest. Now Gordon goes back across to Langy Gleeson. Hurricanes getting over the ball, and it's the penalty won by actually Richard Judd in that case, which isn't normally who you'd expect to be the man getting into the breakdown. Of course, TJ Perenara going to be coming off the bench. Where's Grant when you need him? Says Fleshin. Of course, Stormers man through and through is Grant. Does always make me wonder though, because of course certain sides aren't going to be in action this weekend. So they get a little bit of a rest. So you wonder whether or not in the long run that will actually be beneficial for them. Of course, they'd want to be far in a competition with the cup on the line for the Challenge or Champions Cup, but you also get that little bit more of a break that you can use to refresh and regroup as the season wears on. It's going to be nicely taken, but it wasn't straight. It was Justin Sangster going up for it. I always say he looks like Kyle Mills with headgear on. Anyone who knows New Zealand cricket will know of Kyle Mills and probably say that they can see the similarities. Because, yeah, he just looks like him with the headgear. Korere Symes. He's only had 3 matches in his Hurricanes career, but he has got himself 1 try throughout those 3. Might help for with the long run. But if you look at the Bulls, for example, they are always rusty after a bye. That's true. Sometimes it works for a side and sometimes it does hurt them that a little bit more. But Gordon goes across now to the hands of Hayden Thompson Stringer. Searching for it again was Gordon. You recovered quickly. Come on, the Canes. Says Moa Hunters. Oh, Gordon. A lot of pressure on him into the in-goal area. Forced down by Will Harrison. I believe because it is taken back, it's going to be a 22 dropout. Because it was charged down, that is a little bit of the reasoning behind it. Yep, 22 dropout here for the Waratahs. 8 minutes into the contest already. Now, this would be half-time if we were in a Sevens contest, which we have been covering quite a bit of, the Singapore Sevens. We have got the next game of the Sevens taking place at, I believe it is 10:30 p.m. New Zealand time. So be sure, keep an eye out for that one, ladies and gents. Kick downfield, Ruben Love goes off to Braden Iorsi. And tell you what, you could stick this loose forward trio on the field for the All Blacks, and I honestly believe that they wouldn't go too badly. Peter Lakai, Braden Iorsi, Devin Flanders, like that's the kind of talent you like to see out there on the field for the Canes. They've built some depth in that position as well, not even mentioning Brad Shields. Of course, for the Hurricanes that they have currently got available. That's not mentioning Duplessis Karefi that they have also got available. It's going to be an offside advantage now in favour of the Waratahs. I'm going to quickly change something, ladies and gentlemen, which will mean that I'm going to lag for just a little bit of time, so I do apologise for that. Go like this. Go like that. I just want to very quickly switch the thumbnail of this one, because for myself, I don't know whether it's the case for you guys as well, but for myself, it actually doesn't have the thumbnail. I don't believe. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to change that so that it does actually pop up. But we have seen another mistake that has been made, ladies and gents. We are going to get ourselves another scrum in this matchup. And that's what I mean by the Canes just stacked with talent. Even in the backs are stacked. Yeah, like in terms of back replacements, they've got some very good options in there as well for the Hurricanes. I'm going to very quickly try and do what I said about. And hopefully it doesn't lag out too much, ladies and gents. There we go. Here says Grant. Oh, okay. So Grant, there was a bit of talk about Stormers and whatnot earlier on, but it's all cleared up. Shout out for the South and up the Landers, says Levi. Now scrum just about to take place, ladies and gents, and we'll go like that, and that should fix it. Like losing Roygaard didn't affect them much at all, says Beds Ablaze. And that's like that's one thing about certain sides. Some sides can afford to lose players and not be hugely, like I guess, hugely dampened, if that makes sense. Like we look at currently, you look at someone like the Hurricanes who don't have Geordie Barrett in the starting lineup here, but still have a very, very good side. They don't have Salisi Reasi in the starting lineup, still putting out a decent enough team. That's called as a tackle. Billy Proctor was trying to get his knee down to continue. Taking it to the breakdown. Richard Judd round the side of the breakdown. Now Peter Lakai. On back across. Billy Proctor at his neck bent awkwardly. There, gets back up and has another crack. He's going to be held up here. It's short, and now it's over the line. Not releasing, says Richard Judd. And yeah, that's going to be the penalty going the way of the Hurricanes. Okay, firstly short, you haven't released him. Now, that's quite cynical when you say it like that. The man wouldn't release him when he was only about 20 centimetres from the line. Is that not worthy of a card? Just a little bit? They are going for the scrum here, the Hurricanes. Very good option, but I think that would have to be a last warning for this Waratahs side there. If they are going to do that just out from their own goal line, they will unfortunately suffer the consequences very soon for that kind of play. Just talking about the timing of that scrum, and the Hurricanes, anytime they bust off the back of a scrum, they're always in such a good position to go on and get themselves a try. And I mean, Yossi's the best shout for being able to get one. Territory 96% at the moment in favour of the Hurricanes. I don't think that's going to change too soon. Although, I tell you what, the Tars have put in a little bit of a push there. Brian Yossi pops it up to Richard Judd. Goes across to Riley Higgins. That was reserve hooker and halfback, says Pete D. So for the Hurricanes, the reserve hooker will be... it is the youngster from last week, whose name, no, it wasn't Motu, it was something along those lines, so I can't quite remember off the top of my head. I have got the benches as like an overlay, which we'll put up at halftime, but until then, it's been lagging when we try and do anything like that. But Ruben Love gets the offload away. Brandon Yossi drops his head and is just short of the line again. Richard Judd, short side, does the snipe and hasn't been able to make it over the try line. They've got a few options here for the Hurricanes. Branyossi gets the pass away. Another penalty advantage in favour of the Hurricanes. Judd goes across. Now to Brett Cameron in behind. To Riley Higgins. He goes through. 4 metres all. That is very, very close. They have to release him there. There's no clear release. The player hasn't rolled. They were trying to slow it down. Devin Flanders tries to reach out but isn't able to get there. Judd with a quick hands to Brett Cameron. And they'll score their second try of the contest now, the Hurricanes. Once again, though, they look fired up. They seem like they're quite annoyed that they lost last week and they don't want it to happen again. And back again, Hamish Stronger here. Says a roof at the moment. I mean, it's one-way traffic at the moment, the way that it sits. The Hurricanes are just really motoring each time they get close to the try line. That time, Ruben Lovey was unfortunate to not make his way over. Same with Brad Yossi. It was good goal line defence from the Waratahs, but unfortunately for them, they just couldn't stop them from finding that last pass there, the Canes. And they get themselves yet again another one. Peter Luckeye going over, celebrating with his teammate there. Just going to have a quick look and see the way that it sits currently. I'm trying to find the odds because I know that the Waratahs will be massive underdogs now. Yep, $21 underdogs as it currently sits. So not many people thinking they will get themselves back into this contest. Another good kick from Brett Cameron. I mentioned how he was 73% going into this contest, but now I'd say that's probably bumped him up to about 76, 77 as we sit currently. Yeah, not the start to the match that the Waratahs were after. They needed to try and keep it close for this first 15 or so, whereas the Canes have just been able to slowly keep on running away with it. Hurricanes are moving. Sears Ruth going to be kicked long by Richard Judd. Not able to find the touchline with it now. It will be Mark Nwanga Nedawasi. Goes back across to Will Harrison. Oh, has lost his footing a little bit there. They're talking about the fact that there's been no possession in favour of the Waratahs at this point in time. Just trying to put together a few phases. Hands on the ball. Nice run from Mark Nwanga Nedawasi. Made an extra 5 metres before he was tackled by Pori Rakiti Stones. Another offload. That looked like a knock-on from Jake Gordon, but must have just regathered. Here's Mark Nwanga Nedawasi. Went off to Lengy Gleeson, who's dropped the ball, and now the Hurricanes have got themselves another counter-attacking opportunity. Here comes Ruben Love through one, passes on the outside to Josh Morby. He's playing at 14 for this contest. Another player who's not out there on the field, Kenny Naholo. When you talk about the Hurricanes' depth and their overall squad, you know, they've got so many great players. Braden Yossi hits it up. Judd goes across to Pori Rakini Stones, finds the offload to Kariru Symes, and Morby scores it between the sticks. The third now for the Hurricanes, and they are in the situation here of already sitting with a bonus point if nothing changes in this contest. Waratahs need a special boost. They need something big here, because this is already getting extremely one-sided. Golden Point New Zealand versus Canada men's, says Novmum. A little bit of nervousness for the Kiwis then, because Canada have beaten them before. Nice passing from the big forwards in this one, whether that's Lomax, whether that's Isaiah Walker, Leo Wiri, Pori Rakiri Stones got it away to Kariru Symes. That was those nice little last pop passes and got the Canes over for their third. Boom, says Ruth. Could this be... Oh, that might jinx it. I think that's a good thing, though, if I do jinx it. Could this be the biggest score that we've seen from an individual side in a Super Rugby Pacific game this year? That's the question. I feel like at the moment it's not exactly a bad one. Because, yeah, she's not good at the moment. Well, we will go like that. We'll go like that as well. But already 18 minutes in, 3 tries for the Hurricanes. It doesn't get much better than that for a conversion rate. Now it's going to be kicked off. Nicely taken by Riley Higgins just inside of the Hurricanes 22. Looks like Judd's going to be rolling this one back for the box kick. Gets it high now. And taken by Jake Gordon. It's under a little bit of pressure from this Hurricanes defence. Peter Lakai makes the tackle. Gordon goes again to Harrison. Sells the dummy. Almost manages to find a gap. He's tackled by Morby. That's playing the halfback against Justin Sangster. Where can you watch live, says Joel. Depends on whereabouts you are in the world. If you're in New Zealand, it's on Sky Sport. If you're in Australia, it's on Stan. If you're in South Africa, I'm not too sure what the options are. I assume it's on Super Sport. That is if they have secured the licenses, though. That is the trickiest part about it, knowing who actually has the license. But if you go onto the Super Rugby website, there is the section that will tell you exactly whereabouts you can watch. Who tries, says Tulevoni. So far, we have seen Josh Morby score. We have seen... We've seen Josh Morby. He managed to score one. We saw Billy Proctor. And then the other try was Brett Cameron. So all backs at the moment for the Hurricanes in terms of the try scorers. Now looking to feed this one out the back line again here. It is on Super Sport indeed. There's DB. And big clash coming up possibly next week with the Canes versus the Blues. Yeah, that'll be a very important contest for those two sides. Now Judd goes back into the pocket to Cameron. Looks to get a bit of distance on it, but has been partially charged down. Mark Nwanganitawasi waits for that one and kicks it back down towards the Canes fullback, Ruben Love, who now looks for the 50-22. But backtracking there was Tristan Riley. He's tried to control it. He's touched that, so he has to make sure that he runs it forward, or else he could have got himself in a little bit of trouble there. And the Tars are still not out of trouble. They're inside of their 22. Big tackle made by Peter Lakai. For the counter-ruck, wasn't able to get it. Thanks for the live, bro. Currently overseas. I needed that live, says Fabian. No worries at all. And hope you are enjoying your overseas travel. Whereabouts have you ended up, Fabian? Do let me know. Thanks, brother, says Tui Levoni. No worries at all. Balin Sullivan charging forward the left wing. A big shot, but he bumps through it and still driving forward. Balin Sullivan found somehow an offload. 10 metres out from the line now for the Hurricanes, but the penalty is won by the Waratahs. No clear release there from Pori Rakiti Stones. And nice score, Kane, says JSP. And also Hurricanes blowing strong in New Zealand wins, says Novmum, in the Golden Point time. So a close game, though. up against the Canadians. Deansborough currently in France. Go the Canes, says Fabian. Well, hopefully France is treating you well. Hopefully, you enjoy the rest of your holiday or just trip in general. I don't know if it is for a holiday or not. A great run from Balin Sullivan. The defence for the Waratahs was on holiday there, just not quite being able to shut him down. We saw Harry Johnson-Holmes tried to put in a big hit on him, and all he ended up doing was getting himself bumped off and opened up a gap even more for Balin Sullivan. A throw in for Julian Heaven. Nicely taken, 40 metres out from their own line now, the Waratahs, as they look to get a rolling maul, marching forward, and come on, Canes, let's go. Says Beds ablaze. Now Jake Gordon looks to put this one high. Working towards the touchline. Brett Cameron having a little bit of a blunder there when he went up for it, but it is still available for the Hurricanes. Good protection from Judd and Yorsi. Goes across to Kariru Symes, and something that the Hurricanes probably do lack is depth at hooker. After Asafa Moore was injured, they did have a massive hole that they were trying to fill. I think that Kariru Symes probably not a bad option, really. It's going to be, Judd took too long, or in fact there was actually a little knock on there. Lots of Scottish surnames in the Hurricanes team. Sears Ruth, and I had the Canes by 24. You may not have gone high enough. Yeah, there was just a little knock on from Richard Judd. I thought he was getting penalised for taking too long there. That one, my bloody head. Says Sebastian, well, you did start drinking yesterday, so you got a long road ahead, Seb. If you go until the Quins game, like, that's a long trip. That is for sure. Now, ball's going to be fed in by the Waratahs. 23 minutes gone already, and some fantastic options off the bench for both of these sides. We'll be interested to see who the fresher side are. Definitely if this pace continues throughout the rest of the 17 minutes in the first half remaining. Now, Will Harrison taken down low. Riley Higgins look for the turnover mark. Nwanganitawasi going to put in the kick in behind. Ruben Love is back there and covers it well. It is now going to be the goal line dropout for the Hurricanes, and he goes straight away. Sees a bit of a gap back there, and the ball bounces. That is a great kick from Ruben Love. He took it quickly. The bounce of the ball, of course, helped him out there, but sometimes you need that little bit of luck. But he's pretty much gained the Hurricanes about 50 metres of territory there and an opportunity to try and steal that ball at line out. Not sure about the good sir, or good part, sir, says Sebastian. Seb has a very important task for today. What's the task for him? I feel like I missed that one. You guys message a lot in the group, I have to say. I don't always get a chance to read it all. I saw that the foot thing came back for a little bit of time. Now Lalakai Foketi. It's going to be loose and actually stolen by Josh Morby. Bragnosi. Oh, going to be knocked on by Isaiah Perez. He's frustrated as he wasn't able to claim it. The thing is, though, he only got a hand out to it. Almost looked like a slap. So he's got to be careful not to end up with a deliberate knock-on called there. Like, he did want to gather it, and you could see that he was trying to, but you got to be careful. Deliberate knock-ons get you in a bit of trouble in the old rugby union. I'll take in myself to teach the niece about the art of gaming. I brought them Stellar Blade for PS5. Would you be disappointed, Seb, if I told you I've never heard of that game? Or have I? No, I don't think I have. Isn't good. Love deserves a shot at the ABs, I feel, in my opinion. He's been very good this season. I feel like with the absence of Will Jordan, they've got a couple options, probably Love, Stevenson, and Barrett, probably other three. And that is, of course, Bowden rather than Geordie, although Geordie could go fullback if they really need him to. And because of how many options that they've got in the centres at the moment for the ABs, going back across, goes to Ruben. Yeah, get him in the All Blacks kick because he's broken the line again here, Ruben Love. Just doing it for fun. Now off to the left-hand side. Riley Higgins on the outside to Proctor. Kariru Symes had Balin Sullivan with him. Wasn't able to use him though. Now again, Riley Higgins plays half while Judd was running back across. Brett Cameron going to Peter Lakai. Pop pass up to Devon Flanders. One more to Morby. Brady Yorsi. He'll run it in and he gets the try for the Hurricanes. And mate, you said the defence was on holiday there as yours of Australia teams also headed to Bali. Is yours of Australia teams also headed to Bali? I feel like we're missing a word there, Katzenel. But once we have that word, we'll know exactly what you're talking about. But Braden Yorsi, great step from Ruben Lovedale, set him up initially. It was just really good from the Hurricanes. Like, they just keep on going. Google that game. I had to as well. I said bought it for his nieces. The protagonists are jiggling during combat. Sure, his tight latex suit. There's also exploring and all that. And Mankind's taking names, says Dr. Pooh. And Bowden Barrett would be at 10. Have that experience in that part. Yeah, although if you got Perenara at 9 and Mackenzie at 10, you've still got a little bit, you've got a decent amount of experience in there. Have a quick look at the game, Hamish. Keep a straight face. We'll have a geese after the game. I'll let you know what I think of it. Defence says Katzenel. Now, Brett Cameron. Yeah, Brandon Yorsi didn't even have to run that one in hard. He just got to jog it to the try line, which is, it's always nice as a player because you get that free try pretty much, you could say. But at the same time, you also want a bit of a challenge of someone defending you. Cameron missed that one. Unfortunately, gone away to the left-hand side for him. Now, another opportunity here for the Hurricanes to just continue building their lead. They are still scoring at about a point a minute at the moment, which if that continues throughout the rest of this game, there's going to be a problem for the Waratahs on the scoreboard. Kicked off. I think that one was knocked on by Brandon Yorsi, or at least a knock-on advantage in play for the Waratahs, Sebastian Latex Pants and a glitter boob tube disco dancing. See, as the roof now grabbing him behind from Isaiah Perezi. Does go into touch. And that is now going to be the Hurricanes who have got themselves the line-out throw. It hasn't started the way that the Waratahs would have liked. I can guarantee you that, ladies and gents. Kiriru Symes now throwing this ball in. Nicely taken by Devon Flanders. It's a little bit scrappy. It's going to be the penalty for closing the gap against the Waratahs there. Okay, the referee's just said he's going to keep an eye on it for the Waratahs as well. Whatever it was. And he likes Hurricanes in a league of their own, says Roof. Well, they'll certainly be happy with the way that this first half has gone. Definitely because, like we said, they haven't even got some of those main players that they've been playing in recent games. And they are coming off their first loss. So it's always that question of what is the side's counter going to be after you've been beaten. And it seems like the Hurricanes are going to come out firing more than almost ever. Now, that is not to say that the Waratahs have played a good game of rugby as of yet. They have really been struggling in everything in this game. But other than that, she's still a one-sided affair, that is for sure. Well, we will go like that. And that, there we go. Now, going off to Isaiah Walker-Leawiri, who's back in position for the Hurricanes. We haven't actually seen him touch the ball since that earlier try assist. Now passed out wide to Kiriru Symes. Big shot coming in on him. Keeps the ball alive. Gives it away to Riley Higgins. Wrestled down by Langy Gleeson. Ball still there for Judd. Lakai goes across to Cameron and behind to Proctor. There are numbers here. Oh, Balin Sullivan almost drops it. Pops it on the inside, but it goes straight into the hands of Lakai Feketi. I'm not sure what you said, but I'm in. Sebastian Deruth. As I'm sure you can kick it during disco. Gaming is for normal people, says Deruth. I'm sure a lot of gamers will be very happy to hear you say that, Ruth, that gaming's for normal people. Going to be kicked high now from the Tars. Waiting for this one to come down. Ruben Love. In fact, it's going to be Brett Cameron who runs onto it now. Wide cut pass to Josh Morby. He's looking to the corner, but he's still got about 3 defenders to have to beat. Now Judd. Back across again, this time inside ball to Kiriru Symes. Just seems likely, doesn't it, that the Hurricanes will get themselves another one. Offload on the inside from Devon Flanders. Now it goes to Justin Sangster. Judd. Cross again to Cameron. Goes to USC. I don't think he'll be the only loose forward in this contest for the Hurricanes to score a try. Proctor with the offload. Doesn't quite find the hands of Morby, but he does find Judd. Now 5 metres from the try line. Morby goes to the left-hand side. Nice step from Cameron. Couldn't get his offload. That will be the knock-on from the Canes there. Waratahs aren't even on the field yet, says Ruth. Yeah, hasn't been good at the moment for them, unfortunately. Like that. And like that as well. But just loose, I would have to say, from the Waratahs. Like there's not much else you can say other than they just have looked like the second best team out there on the field. Currently, there you go. Scan a QR code. Get Sky 15 to purchase regular season matches for $15. Tell you what, that's a very good deal, ladies and gentlemen. If you want yourself a $15 Super Rugby ticket, that is exactly where you want to go. I'm trying to decide if I want to go to a game for $15. I haven't been to a Super Rugby game, I don't think, ever in my life. So that would be quite cool. Just talking about the fact that Sky have had some very good viewership as well. 1.6 million Kiwis have watched the competition. Tars at my house eating grubbin, says Doctor. And glad Balin Kariru Pori been given valuable match time tonight, says John. And yeah, it's going to do them a world of good. Definitely if there are any last minute injuries for them. Like, there's always going to be that situation of a last minute injury or something like that that can completely change your season. We thought it was Roygar, but the way that Peronato's come back in has been phenomenal. Now Lalakai Faketi running his way forward. Kicked. That's a good exit from the 22 by the Waratahs. Not a full strength. Canes are making short work of the Tars, says all in the game. Yeah, I think that is the thing that also makes it more impressive, is the fact that it isn't what a lot of people would consider very close to their strongest one. Good content, you and the boys go and do a game. I feel like we'd get kicked out of a game, but mate, we'll see how we go. I feel like if we did it, we'd have to go to probably Christchurch. We'd get Isaac involved. Big run again from Braden URC. 19 defenders beaten at the moment for the Hurricanes throughout this game. Devon Flanders puts the ball on the outside. Balin Sullivan drops the ball. And now it's a chance for the Tars. Hamish free tickets are a blast, whatever it's for. But yeah, it's like $15 tickets for Super Rugby games for the rest of the season, which is quite cool. Like, you get yourself probably a cheap seat, but it would still be worth it, I'd say. You know, to go to a contest if you do enjoy a bit of a late night game, you know. 7 minutes remaining at the moment, though, for the end of the half. One has gone into touch now. Got to ask the question, whoa, that's the thing. There are still some very good players to come off the bench for these two sides. Like I said, whatever the reason, you're getting kicked out, it's going to be George's fault. Yep. You know it. Like, there's a chance that if we went, George would be the only one who gets kicked out, but more than likely the rest of us would get taken out as well. Aussie's not playing well. What's missing? The Aussies at the moment, unfortunately. Like, I think that the Waratahs are going to stop this from being an absolute... Oh, they just dropped the ball again. I was just trying to tell them that they were going to stop it from being an absolutely one-sided affair. Maybe in the second half we see the Waratahs start to bump it up a little bit, but for now it's just really one-sided. Got to play. We've got to back the Crusaders, get that 8th playoff spot. Yeah, like the Tars are also fighting for that spot at the moment, so this is going to do Crusaders a world of good if they can win their game up against the Reds tomorrow. Can't forsake your mate. If he's chucked out, you have to stick by him. That is true. Even if it's like going to golden point time, sadly, you'd still end up going. Now, 5 minutes left. Hurricanes have got themselves the scrum feed now, ladies and gents. It's gone down in the front row again. And George, he's great. Says Roof, he's good for a laugh, isn't he, old George? So far, 20 tackles missed from the Waratahs. When I said about how it was a pretty one-sided affair, that stat pretty much backs it up. Who's winning the AB's number 15 battle so far this season? I honestly think Ruben Love, but I know a lot of people would also argue Sean Stevenson, which I don't have a problem with. I feel like they've both done pretty well up to this stage. But then also alongside that, like, you know, they've still got, I know that it's not a popular one, but Bowden Barrett, he's still an option, you know, like, if he's coming back from the sabbatical or playing in Japan, like, he's still probably the experienced option that they might look at. That's a great content, George being removed. You have to walk out with him. Says Fleshin, now a big run from Isaiah Walker Leowitty. He's got one of his legs picked up by Hugh Sinclair and still made about 4 more metres. Judd trying to get this ball out. Goes across to Kareru Symes. Now Judd again. Oh, he's kicked a player in the head on the way past. It's actually a prop. I don't know whether you want to do that too often. Evening, Hamish and all from Brisbane. Mark to Lear. The AB's Hamish. What so you think, mate? Says James. I think he'll be in the squad somewhere. I don't know whether they'll put him on the left or the right wing as of yet, because they've got a few other good options that could possibly slot in. I think that Robinson will probably back Reese to have that right wing spot, which then opens up 11 for Talia if they don't go with someone like Amoni Narawa, who might actually want right wing as well. So you've got quite a few guys, I think, that can play right wing. And then left wing's probably when you're going to get to see one of the new men come in, such as a Kenny Naholo or a, you know, who else have we got out on that wing? Salisi Reasi. That's a beautiful pop pass up for the Waratahs. Chip and chase for Dylan Beach. Oh, great work from Balin Sullivan. And it looks like they're going to try and run this one out, and they've been able to do so. That is once again great work from the Hurricanes. Dylan Beach so close. Ruben is beautiful name, Isaiah biblical names. Says Roof there, and Bowden will be bench 10 and 15 cover. Says Mr. All-In, and Sever Reese is playing left wing for the Satyrs tomorrow. Says Mr. All-In, and perhaps maybe Razor was on the phone and said, oh, can you just try him out on that side for a second, just to let me see what it's like. But yeah, like, the benefit that they've got is no one, like, in terms of nowadays, seems to be a genuine right or left winger. If that makes sense, most of the players that I can think of can play both wings. And like they just seem to slot in decently either side. Now, Julian Heaven throws it in. Nicely taken at the back by Lockie Swinton. It's going to be a knock-on against the Tars, though. Thoughts on Welsh legend Lee Halfpenny? Well, he's going to be playing 15 for the Crusaders tomorrow, which I think is going to be a very intriguing one. See how he does end up going. Now, Balin Sullivan, another offload. Also alongside Johnny McNichol, so it's almost a Welsh contingent for the Crusaders. That's gone out on the full for the Hurricanes. It's probably one of the first real mistakes, aside from like a knock-on, that we've actually seen from the Crusaders, or sorry, from the Hurricanes throughout this contest. Yeah, they'll be slightly disappointed with that one. Only 39 minutes through. The Kiwi lads one-way lane here. For the Canes, Hammy, it certainly is. Always thought Lee Halfpenny was a better 14 than 15. Yeah, although I guess for the Crusaders, they've got... Well, I didn't think Johnny McNichol, when he played, I think it was 15, wasn't he, last week up against the Rebels, and it actually looked all right. So I'm surprised that they did decide, right, we'll reshuffle it and hope that it works again for us. But, you know, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then they can't really afford to have too many games that it doesn't. Gordon, 22 metres out from the line now for the Waratahs. They're on the verge of scoring their first try of this half, I would say. Isaiah Perezi. Backing down. Again, going short side. Was that Will Harrison? Yeah, it was. The fly half deciding that he had to throw himself at the line. Try and make those metres. Now Gordon goes across to Hugh Sinclair. And again, the ball's gone out, but they've said that it's gone backwards this time. So chance for Lockie Swinton. Pass it back across. Harrison Looking for a gap. There's the siren sounding. Kareru Symes in through the side. Halfpenny and McNichol must have played together at the Scarlets Fleshin. And Halfpenny and McNichol, money names, says Ruth. And if you're ruthless, then you're just Carter, innit? Says Sebastian, another knock on. And that is going to be the halftime break now. Hunter Ward, the player, wasn't quite able to keep that one in his grasp. And sure thing, get Carter, says Ruth there. 26 points to 0. I think I jinxed it a little bit when I said that could be one of the more one-sided games that we see in Super Rugby, which is good because at the end of the day, the way that it was setting up was going to be a terrible scoreline for the Waratahs, but there is still a lot of work to go in this contest, ladies and gents. It will be extremely interesting to see if the Tars can somehow fight back a little bit. But for anyone wondering, we have still got streams coming up later on tonight at 10:30. We are going to end up seeing the game between the Fijians and Great Britain. Then after that, we've got another contest that we are covering on the channel. I believe it's between Samoa and Spain. Oh no, sorry, it's Samoa versus South Africa is that next one. And Portars at locker room, not excitement at the moment, says Ruth. Has there been as a side held to nothing so far? Yes, twice so far throughout the competition. The Rebels last week up against the Crusaders, and the Highlanders in a game up against the Reds. 31-0 was the score on that one. Liam Williams was a better 15 for Wales. And a halfpenny, in my opinion, of a much more going forward than a halfpenny, says all in the game. I still remember the game that I watched. I think it was Lee Halfpenny up against Argentina. And first pretty much play of the day, it was kicked off and he was about to run it back off a kick. And he ended up just blowing, I think it was his Achilles or something, and it left him out for about 8 months, which was quite a big shame from Samoa Sevens. Are looking real bad right now, says Dr. Pooh. That is true, but at the same time, like when you look at the players that they're missing, like they probably aren't doing terribly. The next leg of the Sevens is going to be the one that's extremely crucial for them, though, because in that leg, it's going to be all down to whether or not they can stay out of that bottom 4. Because they will be playing the 4 top sides of the Challenger Series, and then the top 4 of those games keep in the series for next season, and the others miss out. Hamish Kane's 45-14, says D's nuts. Nice. And Samoa lost the 7, says Spider-Mick. They certainly did in their game up against France. They did lose at 17-0. And Portars at locker room and not excitement at the moment. And just made myself a bacon and egg and cheese McMuffin. Wait, just made yourself one. So did you get the, did you just make a, bacon, cheese, and egg muffin, per se, Nov Mum, or did you, reheat a bacon and egg McMuffin from McDonald's? A good question with Lee's injuries, I'm not sure. So here's Fleshin. Halftime in this contest. Now, what we will quickly do is we will show you the current situation with the reserves. There we go. So it is Tupu Tupu, who is off the bench. I think I called him Mutu Mutu, which is not quite right. But yeah, Tupu Tupu off the bench for the Hurricanes. Also Xavier Numia and also Tosi, Sangster and Karifi with TJ Perenara, Geordie Barron and Salicia Diasi. A pretty strong back contingency available for the Hurricanes. Then for the Waratahs, it is Ponokalafi, also Panini, but not the type of food. And also Amata Nuai is there at number 18, Amatosiro at 19, Charlie Gamble, Grant and Edmed, and then Kara Valevu is there at number 23. So the toughest names to say off the bench definitely goes to the Waratahs for this round, I would say. I've decided to put quite a few tricky ones in there, but we managed to get through. Hurricanes losing their last week's game. They are now back on the winning path. If they do have a second half just like they had in the first, it's been pretty one-sided. Some brilliant work from Ruben Love throughout that first half. And I expect a lot more from him in the second. Oh, how good there. I just made it. I made it myself. Well, 2 actually. Says Novmum there. And Kane's 54-0. Something is not right for Samoa. They used to be good. Well, they've got a lot of changes. Wild prediction, Waratahs will score 3 tries in the second half. It's probably fair. Do you reckon the score will double at full time? Is that because you're trying to put a bet on it, Uncle, or just because you are asking? Which countries do you think will be promoted? I think that Kenya have a really good chance of making their way through. I think that who else is in the top 4 at the moment? I think is it Portugal or it's one of the European teams. We have got there, Hamish Kiwi Lads covering Blues versus Rebels games, says John. We actually aren't tonight. The only reason for that is we have got, I believe it's 2 games of 7s that are taking place at the same time. But during those 7s matchups, with the first one taking place at 10:30, we are actually going to be keeping you guys updated with what is happening in that game from then onwards. But yeah, for the first half, I won't actually be covering it. We have got there, I'm not drunk, I'm an asshole, says Sebastian. And we have got there, will Ruben Love get an All Blacks debut this year? If he doesn't this year, I'd be extremely surprised, to be honest. And why is Barrett on the bench? They've just decided to give him the chance off the bench rather than the start. Okay, they're just showing Catch the Colonel at halftime. Kelsey won because there was no Colonel. $500 KFC voucher. That is a great way to bulk up for the off-season, that is for sure. What's up, Hamish and chat? Looking like a thrashing, says a Mr. All-In. They are just showing the highlights. Possession 65% and also 65% for the territory department in favour of the Canes. 21 missed tackles from the Waratahs was hurting them. 283 metres made for the Canes compared to the 101 made by the Waratahs. 21 defenders beaten for the Canes, 7 for the Tars. And also we're seeing a little bit more of the penalty count going against the Waratahs in this contest. All right, we will go like this. We will go like that as well. But now, Josh Morby finishing the job. Earlier on in the contest, he managed to get himself the 3rd try of the contest. Still a Rugby Challenge 4 career mode with every Aussie teams. It'd be a hard one to do. My rugby season starts tomorrow. $500 worth of pigeon wings. Says Sebastian, what's up, Hamish and chat? Looking like a thrashing. Says Mr. All-In. Yeah, it's pretty one-sided at the moment. We'll go like this. And like that as well. But looking at the odds, of course, the Waratahs are huge underdogs going into the second half. Sebastian, you've been smashed by that vodka bottle. There were just so many line break opportunities for the Canes. We saw the tries of Proctor, Cameron, Morby, and also Braden Yorsi. And that last try of the half was just such an easy run-in as the Waratahs defence was missing. We've seen one missed kick from Brett Cameron, playing Rugby Challenge 4 in the semi-finals and leading 14-0, says D's Nuts. Gotta love the name. But 14-0, not too bad. And not you too, Roof. We all South Africans calling me a Soviet? Or why are all South Africans calling me a Soviet? Says Sebastian. So far, Ruben Love, he's beaten 4 defenders. He's had 1 clean break, 2 offloads. And he's just really been able to find the space in behind this Waratahs defensive area. Looks like he's taking some paracetamol at the moment by the looks of it. How you doing the next match, too? Says Connor, we are not only because of the overlap with the 7s that has taken place. And I think Aussies are digitally enhanced team, not real. You love these nuts, Hamish? No, I'm not the biggest fan, to be honest. Like peanuts, probably my favourite type of nut. I'm not the biggest fan of like macadamia or cashews. I've never been that big of a fan of because you are a Ruski, says Doctor in there as well. Now, second half, just going to be round the corner. Like I mentioned, it was beer and rum, a Belgian-Cuban orgy. Are you doing the Leinster match tomorrow? We certainly are. We are doing both games of the semi-finals in the Champions Cup. We are also hoping to cover the Challenge Cup game taking place between the Sharks and Clermont, whose names I couldn't remember for a little bit there. I think that Mark Nwanganitawasi is certainly going to be under pressure for this second half. Really needs to step up here. And calm down, Sebastian. Life too short to worry about little things, bro, says Spider Mick. That went over your head. It didn't. It didn't. I changed the subject in a decent kind of sneaky manner, I guess you could say. Good evening there, Mr. Kiwi Lads. Kia ora. Says Blues Nay, welcome in, mate. Hope you are keeping well. Hope you're excited for the second half. Just around the corner, just scored. Says these nuts. Sebastian's Russians can handle their vodka. Says Ruth. I love walnuts and pecan nuts. Yummy. Says Ruth. I feel like walnuts, they're all right if they've been de-shelled. But when they've still got the shell on, it's just a hard bit of work for a little bit of satisfaction, isn't it? Unless you got one of those like crackers. One of those walnut crackers, you're on it straight away. You just bang, bang, bang. All day, every day. Smashing nuts. But second half. I think that the Hurricanes will try and start in a similar fashion. Cashews are great nuts, Hamish. I don't like them that much, to be honest. Like, I don't mind them when they've got something, like salted cashews maybe, but in general, they're just, like, I'd have a different one instead, if that makes sense. In the under-20s, is the South behind against their northern counterparts? I mean, it's very hard to tell. I don't think many of the Six Nations under-20s game took place underwater. So, like, that's probably something to look at. But did it, Hamish? I saw it, eh? I don't know, I walked in on the convo and Big Nut chat tonight, eh? Says Chat Sports. Very true, yeah. Hello, Tony. Hope you're keeping well. Salty nuts are also good. Says Pads Ablaze. I love Mac and Damien's nuts. Says Doctor there, and also the George emojis from Ruth in the chat as well. But do let me know your full-time score prediction, ladies and gents. I do feel like the Waratahs will have a better second half, but that's because it can't get much worse. I know that sounds harsh, but that's reality of what happened in that first matchup, or first 40 minutes. Just never quite got themselves going. The next game that we are covering, ladies and gents, will be at 10:30 p.m. New Zealand time. That is Fiji taking on Great Britain. After that, we've also got Samoa versus South Africa, New Zealand versus Argentina, and then I believe we've also got another game in there as well, maybe, or maybe not. They might be the last three that we have got. Hello, Ruth and Morena, brother, says Sebastian. In-score prediction for this game. I am still going to say the Hurricanes bring up 50 points. Just because they should. And Skateboard with Scooter Attachment has said the Blues, of course, they're going to be playing next up against the Rebels. Just happening just around the corner, ladies and gents. For that contest, Hamish likes peanuts. But he loves busting a nut. Can't argue with that. You need a nutcracker. Then you do a whole bag at once. Brazil nuts also good. I'll change 60 points to 8 as the prediction there. My game is currently the score at half-time, 26-0. My massacre, says Ivan. Yeah, it's certainly a lot more one-sided than some anticipated. Like, a lot of people felt like this was always going to be a bit of a one-sided affair. And they were right. But I'm hoping one or two tries in the second half, I think, would be quite nice to see. Just for a morale booster of the Waratahs. And who knows, maybe if they score one or two quick ones, they could be back into this contest heading into the later stages. They have already gone to Golden Point twice. And they have won one of those two. Hurricanes by 50 points to 14, says Emery there. And 43 points to 32, the Canes to win, says John. I think the big stat that is a bit concerning is the 21 missed tackles from the Waratahs in that first half. Now, they did make around 94 tackles, so they're still making tackles per se. It's just they're not making all of them. And as soon as you have a line break come off a tackle that has been missed, it's a long day at the office, that is for sure. And do you still play rugby? So what position you might be a halfback, says Edward. I don't. I used to play out on the wing, but then I'm a little bit slower now than I was. Like, if I was to go back to play, I'd probably play halfback, just because I feel like that's about the only position I could be slightly useful at, to be honest. Let's see if the Tars can put some points on now, says Roof. Exactly right. We want to see them fire back a little bit here. 4 penalties conceded, though. Not a huge number against the Waratahs. They have Alapino for lunch today, Hamish. Boy, hot as. And Police Gaines give them 0, says Ivan. And they see the Tars can put some points on now, and the Waratahs are going to get smashed, says Emery. And now Hamish playing 9 with the GoPro on could be fun. It would be until I get smashed, I would say. You were not slow. The coach's kid was slow of thinking. And a selfish bastard, says Sebastian. Yeah, I'm a lot slower now than I used to be. Moment. There we go. I replied to a message. Who scored? So far we've seen Morby, we've seen Cameron, we've seen Yossi, and we have also seen Billy Proctor as the try scorers. But the second half now back underway, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Nwanganita-Wasi with the possession, already a penalty advantage in favour of the Waratahs after only the 30 or so seconds. Now to the left-hand side, and Waratahs, says Ivan. And up the cane, says Ben Smith. Now offload on the outside. Attack and run from Hunter Ward. Now it was actually his knock-on that ended the first half. They're going back for the knock-on. New Zealand Rugby looking great, says Dan Borta. And Sebastian go and swim in the icy ocean. That cures any hangover, says Roof as well. Just not quite working out for the Tars there. It's getting a message about this game, just as a prediction. They think a couple tries come in the way of the Tars in this half. Let's see if it's correct, but that's going to be nicely claimed by the Waratahs. Lockie Swinton, geez, they're all over him at the moment. The Zaya Wakaleawiri looking for that turnover. Now Lengy Gleeson taking down Kariru Symes. Look for the turnover, wasn't able to get it. Here comes Lockie Swinton. Knocked on by Jake Gordon. And again, an unforced handling error. And look at the Canes. Learn a lesson from last week. And also live on the shores of the Irish Sea. Anything Irish will get you even more drunk. So here's Sebastian. "43 minutes gone, the Tars. It's just really not looking good at the moment for them, and they have to find some sort of way of cutting down on this points differential, because this is a competition that they do look at points differential ahead of wins for a side. Now, in the URC, it's actually based off how many wins you've got, and then if that's tied, then you go on to the next stage, and that is points differential. In this one, it's just points differential after points. The Hurricanes with the ball in hand. Riley Higgins goes off to Billy Proctor, tackled by his opposite number in this contest. Isaiah Parisi up to the halfway line. Richard Judd manages to get the offload away again to Riley Higgins. And George will Sebastian survive that water, says Ruth. Now Porirakiti Stones, the ball's there. Back across Proctor. Goes to Balin Sullivan, bumping off one man. Tristan Riley. Now back across Judd. Goes to Yossi. This is much better from the Waratahs in terms of their defence, though. They haven't been letting them through as easily. That's going to be a knock-on. Now the scrum feed goes the way of the Waratahs again. And phew, that's bloody cold. Clifton, where the men are hot and the ocean's freezing. See, here's Ruth. Yeah, just a rough pass there. This seems to be now when the Hurricanes are starting to make a few unforced errors as well. 36 minutes left, though. They're still well and truly in the box seat. Put that down there. Gordon. Going to be putting this ball in again for the Tahs. 6 handling errors for both of these sides. Though one side has it a lot more costly. That is another handling error from Dylan Peach. Goes into touch. He is not happy with that pass. And can't wear a swimming costume there. Only a 10mm wetsuit will keep you warm. I believe it's a good night for the Tahs tonight, says Spider Mech. And yeah, it's just going to have to be the bench that really turn it around for them. Like Dylan Peach, both hands on the ball should have been nice and easy for him. But, nah. Wasn't able to hang on. Call a taxi for the Waratahs, says JSP. So far we've seen 4 penalties against the Tahs, 7 handling errors. And because of that, that is why the first half possession and territory were both 65% in favour of the Hurricanes. Now ready to throw this one in, feed it in for the Hurricanes. It'll be Richard Judd, Peronato, probably about 20 minutes away. I don't think they'll rush him onto the field if they don't need to. They've already had one crucial error in Roygaard for those injuries. Peter Lakai now trying to bust his way forward, sitting about 30 metres out from the line. Now Judd goes short side. Couldn't get into the hands of Morby, but they did have the advantage. So they will go back for the penalty at scrum time. And this will be a great chance to kick it towards the corner with Brett Cameron. Try the banana kick there. Let's get it to go out maybe about 20 metres out. I'm so surprised at how the season has gone for the Canes, says JSP. I think a lot of people are. Like, in terms of, I don't want to speak for everyone, right? But at the start of the season, in terms of who we were hearing in the chat, for who people felt were going to do well, it was mainly we saw the Chiefs and we saw the Blues. They were the two sides. That was not straight. From Kariru Symes, it's going to hurt them. Yeah, the Hurricanes. But yeah, like, it was those two sides, and the Canes always kind of came in as a bit of a dark horse team in terms of the mentions. Like, everyone felt the Crusaders were going to do badly. Everyone felt like the Highlanders weren't going to be great. But the Hurricanes were more of a bit of a 50-50 of they weren't really on a lot of people's radars. But the way that they've started the season, it's put them definitely up there in terms of a team to watch out for when we make our way to the quarterfinals. Now, I'm just thinking that if I take a dip in the Irish thing now, the Orthodox Easter egg hunting, I will turn into searching for my bollocks, says Sebastian. Well, there you go. Jake Gordon be feeding this ball in now. Be nicely claimed off the back. Harrison going across now to Isaiah Parisi. Mark Nawanga Nitawasi going for the kick in behind, but it will stay in the field of play. A good low tackle made by Tristan Riley. Got back up to his feet and went again. It was close to the penalty against him. Counter ruck coming from the Tahs, but it's still on the side of the Canes with Justin Sangster. Now Judd to find that next passing option. Sebastian, anything is possible with you, says Ruth. Put high by Richard Judd. Taken by Mark Nawangnedoasi, losing his footing, and he's dragged down by Peter Lakai. Gordon. Cross again. Julian Heaven. Back to Harrison, who's waiting in the pocket. Feels like a stalemate at the moment, mainly because of those handling errors from both sides near the start of the half. Another opportunity for the Canes to be able to run this one forward from Justin's side of Tahs territory. Judd goes across to Tossi. Recently made his way onto the park for Tyrell Lomax. Manaba getting arrested again. I too much want to be bikey, skinny ass clown, says Doctor there. Does Corey James still play rugby? He doesn't, but he coaches rugby. Oh, I thought about the offload there. Devon Flanders, just a little error, and it's going to be another scrum. Seen a lot of those at the start of the second half. Sounds like they're going to go with a switch here. Kariru Symes will make his way from the field. Oh, yeah, there, Hamish. You have a straight face reading Sebastian's comments. I don't know how you do it, mate. A steal. Sometimes I laugh on the inside for certain comments. You can probably tell that I'm struggling. Oh, Grant's on the field for Isaiah Walker-Leawiri, as well as another change that has been made for the Canes. How is a... Who is a Chogies with? How is a Chogies with? See, I want to think I know what you're trying to say, but I honestly don't think I do. If that makes sense. Who scored, says Uncle. So the most recent try was scored by Branyossi. Before that, we're seeing Brett Cameron. We've seen... Who else are we seeing? Brett Cameron, Billy Proctor, Josh Morby, and also Branyossi. We try to break Hamish on every stream. Says Grant, and Waratahs need something, someone. George Gregan. Says Ruth. Going to be another penalty. This time going the way of the Hurricanes. Perhaps the late change here. Like Fekete frustrated with how that one's gone. But it is just, it's not great from the Waratahs. And I think that the saddest thing about it is if they played like they have in some of their other contests, I think this could have been kind of close, but maybe not even that close, but just like, you know, kind of close. But no, does not look that way. A line-out throw for Kariru Symes, who is actually continuing in this game, so it was actually the change on the other side of things. Nicely thrown in, well taken by Grant. Now, fired back across, looping around. Chance to pass it out wide. Here comes Josh Morby. 10 metres. Richard Judd goes back across to Pelosio Tossi. He scored himself the try in the golden point time. Up against the Reds. Judd goes across to Brennan Yossi. Bumps off one. Tries to get out of the second, but Harry Johnson-Holmes manages to drag him down. Looking out for someone like a Peter Lakai here. Though he's joining every breakdown that he can, so might not get that opportunity. Judd back across Proctor. Goes to Brennan Yossi. Again, he's going to be dragged down. Kariru Symes was calling for it out on the wing. But Brett Cameron does get stopped. Chicken nuggets, Hamish, with chili sauce. I like the way you're thinking, Ruth. Well, I'm a bit worried you've been looking in my window because I did have something similar to that last week. So you're a bit of a mind reader. It would seem nice passing. Sangster finds the offload away to Flanders, who tried to pop it up to Balin Sullivan, and he's knocked it on. That's about his fourth knock on in this game, Balin Sullivan. Just maybe trying to get that next pass away before thinking about it. The Aussie Kane. And a nice Cameron Yorsi, Manawatu proud, says JSP. Yeah, the Turbos players doing very well so far. You know, Hamish can't eat anything chili. Salt is too spicy for the young man. No. Oh, they're playing a bit of CM Punk's entrance music by the sounds of it at the game. I can handle some spice as long as that spice is mild and less than spicy. Hamish enjoys sweet chili, I think. Yeah, sweet chili is sometimes too spicy, though, to be fair. So Grant's probably not a mile off, to be honest, with his predictions. Colder personality, that's the one. Hamish prefers a neutral flavour. Ball's fed in now. Across to the left-hand side here. Harrison has to clear his lines. Have you tried taro or palusami roof? Says Peter Stowers. Taro is kind of like a potato we have here, isn't it? Is taro like a kumara? Is that correct? And good, I'm a psychic, Hamish, psychic at heart. Says Ruth, another line-out throw. It's going to be Kariru Symes. Can throw this ball in. And Pisupo and Onions. Says JSP. Now Cameron. Back across Proctor. Up to Morby. Goes to the grubber mine. Ruben Love. And that one just curls 5 metres out for the line, putting them in a tricky spot right now. Now, they're actually saying Balin Sullivan might have some sort of injury here, by the sounds of it. And correct name, Mish, says Peter Stowers, and tastes like apple. Says Blues, no. I haven't heard that it tastes like an apple. A kumara. A line out throw for Fonokolafi. Nicely taken. Canned corned beef, says JSP. I've never heard of it. Oh, that was close. Ben Grant picks it up and scores. Charges it down. Scores the try. Brilliantly done by the big man. Just want to make sure there was no knock on. There was certainly a big charge down from Ben Grant. That was his first try of his Hurricanes season. Hamish, the king of the fence. Says Grant. Yeah, pressure on Langy Gleeson. Went for the box kick. Yeah, oh. Was that accidental offside from Pori Rakati Stones? The way the ball bounced around. Oh, yeah. He's going to be unlucky, but I think that's going to be called as a knock-on against Ben Grant. And like they said, he's done so well. It's come off his hand. Wait, the TMO said it's knocked on and now they want to replay. RP Corey either. Says T. Yeah, see that's... Oh, that looks pretty sideways though. Because he has to run backwards to regather the ball. We're going to see here from the wide angle. Does he knock it on? It's one of those ones that either way I think there's either going to be a disappointed 19, which I think is what we're going to get here, as it's hit the hand and bounced slightly forward. Now, the unfortunate nature is he was actually a little bit further ahead. No try for Ben Grant. The Australian, I've just said, denied the try. Would have been the first Australian to score in this matchup. That's harsh. That's real harsh, actually. Tupu now onto the field. And same with Xavier Numia. Ballers offside, players onside. Says Blues Nate. And also Peter Lakai makes his way from the field. That is for Duplessis Karifi. And Reasi onto the field for Balin Sullivan. Shu, another one for the Hurricanes, blowing it strong. Tars blasting away. It's like Kara Walevu made his way onto the belt for the Waratahs. Here comes Langy Gleeson, man who has had a really quiet game overall. Big shot coming in from Duplessis Karifi. Loves the physicality. I prefer pineapple. Sears Roof. And the ball up this time. It'll be Fergus Lee Warner. Grant will roll it back. It's a high from Will Harrison. We're 25 metres out from the line. We are yet to see any points scored throughout the second half, ladies and gentlemen. I can't remember if Tupu has played NBC. When I gone straight to Super Rugby from Club Rugby, I think he's signed with one of the NPC teams, I believe. I can't think. Tell you what, we're going to have to do a Google. Oh, as soon as I move my mouse, though, it's going to kick me out. And it's going to start lagging. But I think he did have some experience at, like, not a huge amount, but he's had some at Club Rugby, or sorry, NBC level. A Proctor, pass on the outside to Ruben Love. Goes away to Josh Morby. Getting forced sideways there by the Tars defence. And Peach has won the penalty for the Waratahs. Taking from the Canes is stupendous. Sears review. They haven't missed too many at all, that is for sure. Making it very difficult for the side in front of them. Now 57 and a half minutes gone at the moment. One is going to go into Dutch. "22 minutes. We've already had 18 with no tries. We almost had that try of Grant. Was disallowed in the end. Hugh Sinclair still on the field. Throwing that one this time to his locking counterpart though, Fergus Lee Warner. Harrison inside ball. And a big shot coming in again. This time from Tupu Tupu. On the halfway line, Sinclair pops it up for Grant Harrison. Flat ball to Tristan Riley. Duplessis Karifi back up to his feet. And he won the penalty for the Hurricanes. Something in the last game that he wasn't really able to get too much in his favour. This game looks like he's right in the right place, right time off of the get-go. But Brett Cameron now. A man points it right out. It has. It's got a lot closer, and you have to wonder if the Waratahs had played a little bit more competitively in that first half. Could we have seen this game go down to the wire just a little bit more? Or is it the fact that the Canes are so far ahead that maybe they aren't trying as hard as they did throughout that first half? Or maybe just the errors starting to catch up on them? Tupu Tupu saying that the gap's being closed. Hurricanes already have a bonus point try. That is true. They already have actually 2 tries ahead in terms of what they need. Waratahs were to score 2. Oh, big throw over the top. Goes straight to Duplessis Karifi there. Busting forward. Just that little bit more for him. Up to 20 metres out. Cheer. See the Blues, Nate. They passed him behind Grant. Skip pass out wide to Tupu Tupu. Wrestled into touch, but they have managed to keep that ball alive. Offloading it to Langy Gleeson, who once again has knocked the ball on. Here comes Grant. He's not too far out. I see Peter Luckeye still on the field, and so is Flanders, which is interesting because they actually said earlier on that it was Peter Luckeye who went from the field. Here comes Salisi Reyasi, and he gets the try for the Hurricanes. Gonna go shopping soon. Going to get a double beef cheeseburger and chips. Oh yeah, with mustard sauce. That sounds really good, Ruth. To be fair, I would accept a burger if I had one close by. As if the Canes have blown the Tars off the field tonight. Then last week was the Canberra curse rearing its ugly head, says JSP. Maybe. GIO Stadium has defeated a lot of New Zealand sides throughout the last few years for Super Rugby. Yeah, just putting them straight through the gap was Billy Proctor for Salisi Reasi, and shame Portars couldn't string a try together. Maybe miracles can happen. And also we have got there, will be a happy day at golf for this sole Waimo Hurricane supporter. Says 18 Stags. Waimo Hurricane supporter. That makes me wonder, do I know you in person? That looked like an ugly finger dislocation for one of the players there. 19 minutes remaining. Brett Cameron now to line up this kick. It's been relatively successful today. I just jinxed it. He's missed to the side. You won't be able to handle the dunya. Too much flavour for you, says Grant. An evening game is getting cold enough for you, says Jason. I mean, we're not actually too bad. 8 degrees Celsius at the moment. Is Judd the first halfback to ever wear head strapping from the start of the game? Possibly, or not. So at least at RC, I think his hands... Is it his hand or his fingers dislocated? I think it was his finger. I didn't look too flash. How much for the headphones, man? It's Jesse again. I know Jesse. Last time you wanted the headphones, you never told me how much you were going to buy them for, because I never told you how much they were worth. So I was hoping to see. Yes, yep, we've met. We've met, have we? I assume your first name's not 18 though. Do you have a first name that you can let me know? We've met. How long ago that I just snorted my nana's ash? What are you doing, Jesse? Grant Hamish, great and cheap for my side work grill, Lady Road. Everything is super fresh. So here's Roof, but now going away to the left-hand side, $2.50. Now I feel like the headphones might be a little bit more than that. Which city in Aotearoa are you from, Hamish? The same as 18 Stags. Fun fact. The penalty advantage in favour of the Waratahs now. Grant shifting it off to Langy Gleeson. It's going to be Peter Luckeye and Devon Flanders both trying to hold him up. Hello, Tony. Hope you're doing well. So here's pads ablaze now. Will Harrison. Another step there. Sure for your uncle. Now I've got to try and think who's Sean with him. Played cricket with my uncle. Of course, the GoPro cricket video we actually had, you'll see him in one of them, I believe. And Jesse Snort, your papas. That's a bit strange, isn't it, from Dr. Pooh? I feel like Jesse and Doctor are on the same wavelength at the moment. And good morning. Give you $80 for the headphones, man. To be fair, I'll accept that. They were less than $80. Will Harrison going to be kicking that one into touch. So we're about 20 metres out. I'm trying to think of who's Sean for my uncle now. Hello, Beds of Blaze says Distracted Sports. Currently 16 minutes remaining. Tane Edmund now onto the field for the Tars, like I said, to replace Will Harrison, who's had a pretty tough day at the office. He's had some big shots being put onto him. Swinton off the field. That is for Charlie Gamble. And what's Addy, man? I'll come get them. I'll take them off your head. You know, I'm alright, actually. Like, probably, I'll just keep them for now. They work alright. There's chaos in the chat. I bloody love it, says Sebastian. That's what to expect, though, on a Super Rugby game that hasn't had many tries in the second half. There's normally a bit of randomness starting in. Now 30 metres out for the Waratahs. Can they at least score one try in this match? That's a question. They've still got penalty advantage. I've got to get over. Charlie Gamble. It up again, the channel Hamish's interaction with it. That's what I love about this channel. Says JSP, tell you what, there's a chance and it's a try for Vuate Karawalevu, who has been able to score the try for the Waratahs. He's happy. It might be his debut try. Yeah, he can't stop smiling. That is his first of his career. Massive smile on his face. There's too many grants. He's flishing in there as well. But Tane Edmund with a great pass there. And yeah, nice short pass. Got smashed for his troubles, Tane Edmund, but with learn he's resilient. The Tars on the board for the first time in this contest. Now, the Hurricanes are still in a position of, unless they were to concede 2 tries quickly, they are still in the perfect position of being able to get a bonus point. And whoop whoop Waratahs. And yes, they can, says no mum true that, Sebastian. It's rocking. And that's never been said by anyone ever, says Grant. But now Tane Edmund to line up this kick. 85% success rate, 33 from 39 throughout a Super Rugby Pacific 2024 season. Cancelled Christmas, they scored, says Doctor. Do you think the Highlanders weep Moana? It's going to be a tricky one, to be fair. Like, it's in Tonga, so a great opportunity for Moana Pacifica to put it on in front of a home crowd. And the Highlanders haven't been in the best form, so, you know, anything could happen. Can I sit next to you next game, man, and talk some... I'm good at it, man. Trust me, I'm up the Kiwi lad, says Jesse. I mean, I've had George on a few streams before, and he often swears. Same with Tony. So we kind of have to get to know you first, I would say, before we just chuck you on a stream with a live feed. About time, as much as the clean sheet is nice, it's bad for rugby, lol, says JSP. Now the Waratahs, they've got 12 minutes left to score 4 converted tries and they'd win this game. Is it doable? Just in case you weren't going to get kicked out anyway, Jesse will tag along, says Sebastian. Now going off to the left-hand side. Chance now for Xavier Numia to Perenara. Across to Burke. So Lisi Reasi to manage to score himself the try earlier on. Off the bench. Stupid question. Here, but why are the Hurricanes called that? Don't you get cyclones in the Pacific? I'm not actually sure. I think it's because of how windy Wellington is. Might have been where the name initially came from, but it could be wrong. And live says the Blues named Yo Hamish. Oh, what a game it's been. Yeah, it's been a good one for the Hurricanes. Not so much for the Tars. They've been struggling along throughout this one. But there's still time, and they've at least got themselves 1 try on the board now. So there's a chance that we could see another one for the end of this contest. Now, I should mention the next game that we are doing, ladies and gents, will be at 10:30 p.m. New Zealand time. And that is going to be taking place between Fiji and, oh, good run again from Reasi, and Great Britain in the 7s, I should say. 2 more Tars tries. I mean, prediction is spot on. says Sebastian, although the Hurricanes are looking pretty close to being able to score themselves another. They've got some big loose forwards on the field. Geordie Barrett has his first carry since making his way onto the field for Billy Proctor. Now Peter Lakai pops it up. Numbers here. Rayasi all on his lonesome. Goes for the corner and scores it again, Rayasi. And he hasn't dislocated his dislocated his finger this time, I should say. And we have the Blues next week. Rayasi just scored, says Junior Ryder. He certainly did in the corner. 2 tonight for him. Are you streaming the Blues game? I am not, but that is because of the sevens that has taken place. The Rebels, they are going head-to-head with the Blues, but during those sevens live streams, we will give you a few updates about what is happening in that one. My Uber meal has arrived, delivered by Star Treks and Pacific around the Americas. The Gold Hurricanes, South Pacific is Cyclones, Western Pacific around Asia are Typhoons. Says JSP, the injury-prone Will Harrison does a lot of hit-ups for a back. Says Hanoi, I mean, we saw him get absolutely crunched last week in a tackle. In fact, we saw quite a few big crunching tackles last week. 10 minutes remaining. Hurricanes now lead 36 points to 5 with an important, well, not really important for Brett Cameron. It's just about increasing the points differential. Hello, early, my bro. Says Bads Ablaze. And also, nice, Nate. Enjoy, brother. Chew like it's Xmas. Chance for Cameron. Oh, he started that really far out to the right. The score after the 71 minutes will remain at 36 points to 5 in favour of the Hurricanes. Just beating on the outside there. How are our 7 boys doing? They went to Golden Point time up against Canada and just managed to win it. And the end. Okay, so Lisa Rayasi was celebrating going, well, he pretty much did a celebration like, oh, my finger being strapped up isn't going to stop me from scoring. Which, I mean, I guess makes sense, doesn't it? You need your fingers to catch the ball. But, yeah. Interesting celebration. Could have done a better one, I think, for Salisi Rayasi. He had plenty of time to think about it as he ran it in. I just trying to say who scored before Hamish says it. Here's Beds Ablaze. And Shores Blues and Canes at Eden Park next week. It's going to be a massive game. Here comes Geordie Barrett. Pass on the outside to Josh Morby. There's about 4 players in support. And the mark is going to be taken. In fact, they're going back for the original penalty in favour of the Waratahs. Offside in front of the kicker was TJ Piranara. Got himself offside. Now Tainema will be able to kick this ball towards the touchline again. Bye-bye, Tars Hurricanes. Congrats, boys. Good play. Says Roof. But I should mention tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, we have got not just the Super Rugby, but we have also got the Sevens, and we've also got the Champions Cup. Hamish, show us a bit of try celebration. No, I don't think I'm in a position to do so. I only scored, I think it was 2 tries throughout my rugby career, and that was only because, like, the first 5 and the fly half weren't in the breakdown, so we actually got to pass it out the back line. What do you call one of the radio stations in Windy or in Welly, Hamish? That's a great question, Peter. I'm sure you will tell me. Are you still rocking this joint? Always a pleasure to listen to you. Now the ball is in the hands of Charlie Gamble and the Tars. Going to get themselves another one, 2 more than me. Says JSP. Radio Rima Cuz. Says Doctor. Now Grant. Going off to Mark Nawang and Nidawasi, lined up by Grant. The other Grant, of course. There are 2 Grants out on the field currently. And no doubt, it's our rivalry between Wellington and Auckland. You should start doing pull-ups like a Thatcher experiment. So yeah, Sebastian. But the ball is loose. Knocked on by the Canes, so once again it's going to be a scrum feed for the Waratahs, who had a much better second half. Like, in terms of second half points, they find themselves in the situation of, I think they've conceded, how many have they conceded? They conceded 2 tries worth, I believe, 2 Rayasti tries. The Waratahs have scored themselves 5 though, so they're not a mile out of it at this point. Radio Windy. Fair enough. It's a bit windy in Wellington, isn't it? Even though people from Wellington don't like when you say Wellington's windy. Like, it is. Everyone knows it is. How you rate the full teal kit for the Black Cats for the World Cup? I think some black should be there. I haven't actually seen it yet, so I'll probably have to have a look at that at some point. 6 minutes remaining in this contest. A Yamish pull-up. Says Blues Nate. Now Grant. Waiting for this one off the back. It is Langy Gleeson now. Puts it up to the replacement halfback. Goes across to Charlie Gamble. 10-5. Says Pads Ablaze. A radioactive. Is a radio station in Wellington. Says JSP. They wanted to take that one quickly, Grant, but he wasn't on the mark. Known as the Windy City. Says Junior Ryder. Now Taney Mid. That one's gone into touch just inside of the 22. I've said that so far there's only been 11 penalties across the two sides, which is actually a pretty low number compared to some of the games we've seen for Super Rugby Pacific. Now lining up this throw, it will be Fotokalafi. And I love all the Grants about. Sears Grant there. Nicely claimed by Fergus Lee Warner. Now off the back, Langy Gleeson. Straight at Peter Luckoi. And one disallowed shame. A luck not with the Tars today. Says Ruth. Again, short side. Grant goes across to Fonokalafi. Taken by his opposite number. And the Mirror Palmerston North is a Grant. Says JSP. I'll run from Amatasero. 10 metres. Separating the Tars and another try. Even if they manage to somehow get themselves more tries in the second half or more points in the second half than the opposition, I feel like that would be a miniature bonus. Another offload coming. Big shot on Hunter Ward. Grant, skip past that space and Sinclair scores it for the Waratahs. The referee has seen the grounding radio was only stationed in the 90s, playing NWA. And some says Doctor, Wellington Brandy here in South Africa. And as he should be, says Grant. But Hugh Sinclair's second try for him throughout his Super Rugby season. And that kick has gone over. They've taken it quickly here, the Waratahs. They're trying their best to be able to take the bonus point away from the Hurricanes. What they don't realise is they still need 2 more tries to make that happen. But they've got 3.5 minutes to try and do so. And this is, as we see more tries scored, it slowly becomes a little bit more of a respectable scoreline. The more Grants, the more tries, says Grant. And there as well, Wellington whooshing sound wind coming the Hurricanes, says Ruth. AGC New Zealand this time can finally win World Cup in cricket. I think it will be tough for them. If they do, it would be great, of course, but I think it's going to be very tough for them. Now charging forward. Going to be Tristan Riley. And right, no more scores. I've got it bang on, says Love Mum. Back across, Taney Med. Going for the chip in behind. Chasing this one hard. Dylan Peach. He tried to get the bounce of the ball. But it does sit up now for the Hurricanes after the knock on from Peach. Ruben Love looking for the 50-22. He's kicked it out on the full. Jeffrey Archer's back, mate. Says Sebastian. Now 2 minutes remaining and the Hurricanes have got the chance on the halfway line. That is the first real mistake that we've seen from Ruben Love throughout this whole game. If it had worked out, it would have been a great 50-22. But instead now they find themselves having to defend for the next 2 minutes. Oh, the contest say, oh mate, how many subscribers are you up to now? Says Sam. That's a good question, Sam. I'm not actually sure. I know it's more than 45 and less than 50, but I'm not actually sure the exact amount in between there, believe it or not. Maybe 48? We might be on a 46. Oh, that was a chance. And he does manage to regather it, so it isn't a deliberate knockdown. Great to see you again on the keyboard. It says coding. That one has gone forward. 90 seconds now left in this one. Talking about Karavalevu, the way that he's been able to come into this Waratahs side and already get himself a try. Sadly slightly got stepped by Salisi Rayasi. Now another throw in here. For Tupu Tupu. Claimed by Grant. Back to Karifi. So all the replacements getting involved. Little chip in behind. Beautifully taken by Riley Higgins. They've got numbers for days. Rayasi drops the ball. Now he can do his celebration, how he looks at his finger and says, that's why I dropped it. Now Waratahs Scrum feed again with 40 seconds remaining. And go and hit that like button, fam. Says Daniel Cox, and subscribe and hit that like button, please, people. Keep it super awesome. And yeah, our next live stream is going to be taking place in an hour and 45 minutes time. And that is going to be the contest taking place between Fiji and Great Britain. Should be an interesting one. But now 15 seconds remain in this contest. The Waratahs at this point just playing for pride. I'm not sure whether or not they've done the maths, but they would still need another try and then another one after that to cancel out the bonus point. The question is, do they want to try and increase their points differential? But with that comes the risk of decreasing it. Now, ball's going to be fed in by the Tars. Big push. Don't think they want to kick it out. I think they want one last try. Playing for that pride, like I mentioned, Magna Wanga Netawasi. See Karefi almost tackling a man without the ball. Popped out to Tristan Riley. Look for another offload, and that'll be the knock on. It's back in the hands of the Hurricanes. That was a forward pass. So it could have been the end of the game. But Dubusi Karefi now. Wrestled down by Mark Nawanga Netawasi. Perenara goes back across to Fergus Burke. Geordie Barrett sees space. Flanders. One more on the outside of Peter Lakai. Gives it to Rayasi. Is he going to pass? You know he's not. You know he's not. Still not going to, even though he's 5 metres out from the line. Perenara goes across to Tupu Tupu at 46.7k. Last time I checked, I was number 23. Says Sam Moore. That was close for Devon Flanders. Just wrestled down though. Perenara reaches out and scores it. Great win by the Canes. Maybe have a game of golf with the old man like last week. Wait, you might have played golf with my dad last week. What's your first name? As soon as you say your first name, I'll say it to Dad and he'll be like, oh yeah, I did. Yep. Played up against him. I love the call, brother. Got to go cook some corned beef and noodles. Says, Doctor, have you ever done trading in stock market? It's a good way for earning fast money. It's only a good way of earning fast money if you're good at it. If you're not, then you're just losing money, aren't you? Waratahs last 9 seconds, better second half Tars. Hurricanes ruin my perfect margin. TJ Perenara manages to get himself the try. And he's got that try scoring record at the moment for Super Rugby, and he continues to keep on adding more to that tally. 63 tries for Perenara is insane. So here's all in the game. And he's still got a few more years left in Super Rugby if he really wants it. As well, that's the other side of things. And well, the Tars scored 2 tries in the second half. Not too mental of a prediction after all. So here's Sebastian. Now Brett Cameron. Line up this last kick. And it's just curved away to the left-hand side. The end score in this contest is going to be 41 points to 12 in favour of the Hurricanes, getting themselves a nice win. Up the Canes, great commentary, says Joe Skull. Thank you very much. And TJ deserves to have the Rico 5. Or Rico record, I think that is from Grant, maybe. And thanks so much. Thanks, Jet. Up the Canes. And Ken Udua says Daniel and Danny Care for the Quins has a similar record in the English Premiership. There's all in the game. Yeah, it's all about being right place, right time sometimes as a halfback. You know, being able to find those next gaps, and also that support run is where Danny Care gets a lot of his tries from, just being that next guy ready to receive the pass. About 41 points to 12. Hurricanes get themselves the victory. And cheers, Seb. And 8 pads of Grant Fleshin and those Rugby Rockers. Says Roof. 41 points to 12. Rayasi gets himself the last 2 tries. And what is the time in the second half? Says Jaden. It is currently full time. And this one, can you do a live reaction with another streamer who streams rugby? Says Daniel Cox. We've done a little bit of it in the past. Sometimes it does get a little bit tricky though when you're trying to sync up times as well as syncing up, like, I guess, commentary in some regards because of the delay that you normally experience. But we've had like guests sitting next to us on streams before, like the one last week between the Crusaders, the Reds and the Blues. We had Isaac with us on that stream, which was a lot of fun. And cheers, Hamish, and cheers, everyone. Love and respect, says Sebastian, and there as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And the next live stream, like I mentioned, going to be taking place in around an hour and 40 minutes time. But thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all for the next one.